In the quiet moments, that's where I'll find a little room to breathe, leave it all behind. Give me room to breathe, I need some time to heal my heart, to clear my mind. Gonna love myself, yeah, I believe in the power of me. Just give me room to breathe.
Great new day to all my self-care family and friends. Welcome back to another Room to Breathe podcast. I'm your host, Life Coach 614, and I am so happy that you've made space to be here with us today. Now, before we get into this episode, do me a quick favor. If you are feeling the vibes, go ahead and show us some love. Tap that screen, like, comment, but most importantly, I need you to share this out with someone who may need a little healing energy today. And if this is your first time here or you haven't done so already, go ahead and hit that follow button. Subscribe to our channel so that way you're always tapped in when a new episode drops. I also want to personally invite you to check out our digital home at theselfcareclub.org, where you will find everything from affirmative apparel to motivational merch, as well as a ton of free resources to help you nourish your growth and remind you that you don't have to do this alone. We are healing in community, growing one breath, one moment, one day at a time. So today, I am encouraging you to give yourself permission to pause, to reflect, and to make space for peace, for growth, but most importantly for you. And remember, if anything in today's episode hits home, be sure to drop some green hearts in the chat. It is our community's way of saying I am healing, I am growing, and I am showing up for me. Now, let's get ready to breathe, reflect, and grow together. Family, today we have a very special guest in the building with us. Kea Simone is an author, a storyteller, and a woman who understands that healing doesn't happen overnight. It happens in layers, in truth, and in courage. Her book, From Pain to Love, explores what happens when a woman stops searching for love in all the wrong places and starts learning the language of self-worth instead. Today, we're going to talk about heartbreak, identity, faith, and what it really means to love from a healed place, not a wounded one. So again, family, help me welcome Kea Simone into the Room to Breathe. Hey, Queen, how are you?
So I am so happy to be here.
Yes, we are so happy to have you here. I always love being in good company, and you fit for good company, sis, in case you don't know, okay?
Thank you.
Yes. So I always like to do a check-in with the soul before we get started. So I'm going to ask you, how's your spirit doing today?
I am in a good place. Even though my day has been hectic, I'm in a good place. I'm happy. I just feel like things in my life have changed for the best, and I'm just looking forward to what's coming next.
Absolutely. And you know what? I think that this year, 2026, is going to be our year. It is going to be our year to claim all things, right? Creatively, in our businesses, in our entrepreneurship. Like, I'm claiming it all for us, okay?
Here, I claim it. I've already claimed it.
Exactly. Like, it's already mine. It's already done. Exactly.
I've been waiting. I deserve it.
Absolutely. So I want to do things a little differently. I want to just go ahead and start talking about this book because, listen, I think that this book is going to be the foundation of our entire conversation today. And so for those who haven't read From Pain to Love yet, how would you describe how do I want to say this? Like the emotional journey of the book, like not the details, don't spill all the tea, but like the transformation that comes in this book. And what do you hope that it awakens in the readers?
So in putting this book together, my goal was I had several goals, but one of the main goals is we don't always look like what we've been through, and don't never judge a book by its cover. Although I love that cover I selected that cover myself, but we're not always what we look like on the outside, or people judge you. And so the main character in the book, Destiny had a whole lot going on. Okay. If you guys like drama, baby, Destiny was going through it, okay? But I'm one of those people that if I see someone on the street, homeless, or whether you're an alcoholic, I always say to myself, I'm sure that person did not just wake up and say they want to be an alcoholic. So sometimes we're hard on people, but we don't know the backstory. So in writing this particular story, a lot of me is in Destiny. Now, is it a true story? No, but it's inspired by real life events. So I take a little bit of you, a little bit of people that I've been around, and I said, how can I make the people understand Destiny? Because Destiny was a hot mess, guys, okay? But you have to love her because you know her backstory. So I started off with a very intense opening scene. So that first chapter is going to have you in there like, I can't put it down. Yeah. Not just because it's my book, but the first chapter will have you in there. But then I say, well, you know what? Let's talk about how did Destiny get here? And how do we get to anywhere? The roots. That's chapter 2. Roots is how did you get there? And that was my goal, to just show you how do people get to where they end up. Because we don't just wake up and just become a hot mess.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. I think that we need to do more of understanding the root cause of situations, because we are very quick to judge, and we don't even know the story. So, I mean, that in itself is just a word right there, sis. Like, that's a whole lesson that I think society could truly learn from. But yeah, I'm really excited. I told you I've ordered my copy, so I cannot wait to officially be finished with this work that I got going on right now, so I can just sit down and pop the book open, because I'm ready to get into it. I need to see what Destiny was doing. Okay,
a lot.
Yeah.
And today, I'm like, Destiny, she was doing a lot, but again, you have to understand how she got there. How did she start navigating life? But the beautiful thing is when you figure out that there's more to life.
Yeah. And thank you so much for sharing that. I think, part of what I love about, is the heart behind the book, right? And with that, it's kind of like just a reminder for us that every single transformation begins somewhere. Usually long before we even have the words for it. Like you said, a part of you lives in Destiny. And so you were kind of writing your story, not even having the actual words for what you were even going through at the time yet. But now you can look back and you're like, oh, that's why I might have done that. Or maybe that's why Destiny did that, Exactly. Yeah. So let's just go ahead and take a step back to your beginning, before the book. Before the healing, who were you becoming during that season that inspired From Pain to Love?
So, my quote that I put it on t-shirts. My quote is, never lose yourself trying to find someone else. So that is deep for me because I was married. And that what inspired the book, because I went through a separation and now I'm legally divorced. But at the time when I was writing, I was still legally married. So I was lost. I was extremely lost. I got lost in a man. A lot of us do. I grew up in a family that I seen unhealthy relationships. So I didn't know anything different. So I became that woman that held secrets. That man's secrets. So all the turmoil that was going on in my life, on the outside, I look like I got it going on. I looked like I had everything, like material things, everything seemed, oh my gosh, her life is so together. But inside, I was dying inside. But I didn't even realize I was dying inside because I've never seen anything healthy.
Right.
And that's just who I was. And it was just like I was content in that state.
Yeah.
But, I ain't jump ahead, but I was freed. So the man that I was married to, how the speech is not me. No, it's not you, it's me. I'm going to free you so you can, fly, because you're never going to be, you're never going to do these things as long as we're married. So I was heartbroken at first.
Right.
But guess what? That was the best decision he could have ever did for me, because I am actually free now. And that goes back to the title. My heart belongs to him, not a man, the Lord. So yeah, it's crazy like how I was like lost. I didn't even know I was wandering lost, or didn't realize I wasn't happy, didn't know. I just was content in the situation.
Right. Yeah. Sometimes we don't recognize pain as pain. We just recognize the hunger, the desire to be chosen, the desire to be seen, to be loved. Right. And so I think that your story, just speaks to searching for love in places that honestly just couldn't hold you. That space didn't know what to do with you, which ultimately ended up being, the sign that you didn't realize that it wasn't even for you, that you were, more than that space.
Yes.
Yeah. When did you first realize that you were even maybe seeking love from a wounded place?
The first time I realized I was seeking love from a wounded place, it was after the separation. And you know how that's when my relationship with God, when I had the best relationship, when it grew stronger. So, I grew up in the church, but you don't really understand until you really go through something. Like, you just realize I was sitting in church. But when I start going through like the wake up, like first it was all my prayers and fast. It was like, bring him back, Lord. I want my husband back, Lord Jesus. Yeah. Bring him back, bring him back. But then the Lord start moving differently in my life. And I remember he had left the house. So now I'm in this house. Don't know how am I going to stay here? I just had to make so many decisions. And so when I finally, I know it's cliche, but I think it's the Wayne Woods song, Let Go, Let God. Mm-hmm. When I finally said, you know what, God, sis over here tired, okay? Yeah. And I always tell people I got the most ghettoest prayers, because he don't want you to be talking like nobody else. You don't need to be Sarah J. You don't need to be nobody else but you. When I finally got tired, I was like, listen here, Lord. In the book, you will see that Destiny had an absent daddy. I have an absent daddy. Daddy in and out. That's why I learned how to accept breadcrumbs, mediocre behavior. So when I finally said, you know what, Lord, and I called out and I said, I need you to be my husband. And what I mean by husband, because I've never lived in a house by myself. So I'm in this house by myself. I'm like, okay, I'm used to being in the house, sleep with someone where, somebody come in here, they're going to get both of us.
Right.
It was like, everything was new. So I said, Lord, I need you to be my husband, my daddy, my friend, my Lord. I need you to be everybody. Okay, Lord?
Everything.
This is a lot. Be everything.
Yeah.
I named out everything that I needed him to be.
Yeah. And
do you know that's when I realized that marriage no longer served me. So it was at that point when I realized it was broken. It was just like, okay, this is what real love looked like. And that's when the Lord showed me, like, people would show up for me, like, give me, like, help me with gas, help me with stuff and whatever. Because I was like down bad, like at first, when it first happened. And people would just, the Lord would send people to me. And I know it was nothing but the Lord. So many blessings came through that separation that I know it was nothing but God. And I know that's how I know that I was in a broken place, because it's just like the Lord, like when I tell you he showed up, and sometimes you don't want to sound like you bragging, but you're like, Lord, I need to tell my testimony. People are like, I'm tired of hearing her testimonies like she bragging. No, y'all don't understand like how of a broken place I was from childhood to that marriage. Yeah. Listen, don't have me in here shouting, because I know it was nothing but God.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And the thing about unhealed pain is that it doesn't stay quiet. Like at some point we suppress that pain and that trauma, and then it just boils over. I know, and I've shared my story several times on the show. In 2019, same thing for me. Everybody's looking and thinking that, everything is all good. I'm happy. This marriage is great, and I am in a happy, healthy marriage. So again, that is true. But on the inside of me, something was off. So I noticed that I wasn't showing up for my friends anymore. I wasn't showing up for myself anymore. Like, I just felt down. You know what I mean? And it was all of my trauma coming back to the surface. And so I had to go to therapy. And then, of course, the world shut down in 2020. So that didn't help the process because I didn't know what to do. And you couldn't go find room to breathe anywhere because everybody was scared to breathe anywhere, So it's like I just had to kind of stay here and face my demons while still being a wife and a mom, and at that point a principal and a teacher and anything else they put on you to do. But yeah, so I definitely have learned firsthand how that unhealed pain doesn't stay quiet, and the blessing of what God will do for you when you just sit still and take the time to reflect, to become more self-aware. I think that it becomes the voice that kind of really explains the world to us, especially when it comes to love, right? Like, God has a funny way of revealing the places that you should not have been and why you should not have been there. And you like, okay, God, I get it. Like, I get it. Not too much.
I love your show, Rooms to Breathe, because I didn't even realize I wasn't breathing. Like, in my house now, like, I literally almost came to tears yesterday because one of my friends came over for Friendsgiving. And she called yesterday and she was just like, your house is just so comforting. It makes you just want to like just be, in your good space. And that's what I created. So after like I was able to, navigate through the separation, divorce and all that, I was like, let me build a home. But I didn't realize I was walking on eggshells. I didn't realize I wasn't breathing. Like, I was just literally waiting. Like, okay, this man, he gonna one day show back up like who his representative. But I didn't know what a representative was at the time. So I was like, he gonna show back up. He gonna be happy again. I'm just gonna wait it out. Cause I never would have thought I would have initiated a divorce. So it was just like Room to Breathe. That's a beautiful name because now I can actually breathe. Like, my home is my sanctuary. I love it here.
Yeah. Yeah. And a lot of us go through that. That's literally where I came up with the name of the show. In the process of going through therapy, I was able to figure out that all of this, the root of all of, what I was dealing with stemmed from a trauma that took place when I was 7 years old. And naming my feelings and processing my emotions, and they're like, what do you want? What do you feel? And I'm like, I just want to breathe. I just want to exhale. Like, I'm all emotional. I'm like, I just need room to breathe. And I was like, oh my God, like, that was the first exhale that I really let out. And I'm like, I've been holding my breath since I was 7. And I know that sounds crazy, but I know you get it. It's like, how have I survived this many years holding my breath? Like, this doesn't even make sense. But when you go through that moment in your life, I know it's plenty of people, men and women alike, who are like, yeah, yep. And maybe this podcast will be somebody else's permission to breathe again. Because we're not meant to hold all that and carry that. I know that there are lessons in our trauma, but we don't have to be our trauma. Like, our trauma is not us,
Exactly.
Yeah. And so one of the truths behind today's episode, that I'm hoping that everyone carries away with them today, is that you can't speak love clearly when you're still translating through trauma. And so I'm curious, what did love sound like to you before healing? And how has that language changed?
So I'm glad you asked that question. What did love look like prior to the healing? So it was transactional. So it's crazy because we're actually working on book number 2. So my editor said, ask some of your close friends, what does your next partner look like? And a couple people was like, well, he has to have financial. Now, I do like finances. Okay. I need you to have your stuff in order.
Right.
But a lot of the past was, I'll get you this. You know, we just had a big fight, but I'll make up and I'm going to buy you this, or I'll do this. So then, you know, you like, okay, that's why everybody was thinking everything was good. Like, oh yeah, she, you know, whenever, you know, you look up, there's something new, something, you know, so it's transactional. I do something horrible, I get you a gift. That's one of the love language, but that's really not my love language. My love language is not gifts. But people, you know, would think that because that's what love looked like.
Yeah.
Here, take this. I cheated on you, but take this.
Yeah.
I did this. I'm emotionally abusing you, but take this. So that's what it looked like before the healing process.
Yeah. And I think, again, it's so hard because healing is like a daggone roller coaster. You know what I mean? It's not like you finally get to the point and you're like, I see the error in my way, so I'm good now. Because life is like, but are you sure you good? Like, it keeps trying to make you balance it out to make sure that you really learn the lesson. And I think that inner translation, you know, doesn't just shape our relationships, but it truly shapes how we see ourselves when nobody else is watching. I know I beat myself up. You know, I feel like I honestly beat myself up more than the trauma itself, more than all the past things itself, because then, you know, stepping into my self-awareness, I was like, hold on, there are certain things that I permitted to happen, that there are relationships that I knew I stayed too long in, and, you know, things like that. So it's like you really start to beat yourself up because you're like, girl, why were we doing this? Right. And you experience rejection and the abandonment. Oh my God, the abandonment, the emotional wounds, right? So, you know, while you're going through this healing process and you're doing this reflection, how did, you know, rejection, abandonment, or maybe like those emotional wounds influence the way you started to view your worth?
So rejection, that did determine how I looked at my work. Because again, one of the chapters is daddy issues, okay? I covered all these chapters, okay? So daddy issues, when you feel rejected by your dad, the first man that's supposed to love you, you don't know why he's not there, or why would he tell you lies? Like, I'm gonna show up and he don't show up, and you looking out the window as a 5-year-old, 6-year-old, 7-year-old, then you just like, then that's when you become angry, when you get like 14, if that late, that's when you just like, sir, nothing you say, like, okay. So rejection, it did have, you know, like I said, because the first man that I loved was, and so he's supposed to love me back, and he didn't do right by me. I didn't want to be rejected by another man. You know what I'm saying? So again, like you said, you put up with a lot of stuff before you learn your worth. But you mentioned earlier that counseling. So by the grace of God and the counseling together, like,
that's a combination I always recommend. I always tell people you need Jesus and a whole lot of therapy. Like, that's all we need. Jesus and a whole lot of therapy.
And therapy, okay? And people now be like, you will dismiss somebody real quick. Like, I'm out here in the dating scene, like, not, you know, it was just like, well, it's trash out here. But they like, you cut somebody off real quick. I'm like, yeah, because now that I know my work, I know my triggers. For example, my trigger is being consistent, doing what you say. Doing what you say. Yeah. So if you tell me you're going to call me back, I expect you to call me back. And that's just like even friendships. And not even with the daddy issues, people that don't do that, like, you don't respect other people's feelings or other people's time, because if I expect for you to call back. Right. So with that, I've learned, because my triggers. So now if you do that, I might give you a pass the first time. Stuff happened. But if you do it again, I'm like, okay, you're not even trying to make change. So I can't have you messing with my triggers, because I ain't trying to go back to the 1976 Kea, 77, 78, 79 age, y'all, okay? But I'm not trying to go back there. Yeah. So you learn your triggers, you like, So like, so rejection so much now, I guess I'll be doing the rejection like, Gotta go.
Yeah.
We're not about to do that. So I know my triggers. And like I said, sometimes I might not catch it right away and get in my emotions, but then I'll be like, okay, what would therapy do? What would my therapist say? What would she say? Okay, no.
Right.
Therapy is a beautiful thing. Like when you learn your triggers and you know when you're in an emotional place, you be like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
This don't feel good. Heart racing. Use those tools.
Yeah, it teaches you to put a name on it, because we spend so much time in life just trying to live. Like we live in this survival mode that we never have an opportunity to really put a name on it and figure out what it is. And so that's one of the big things that I believe that therapy does for us is it gives a name to what we've been feeling all along. And so then it creates this desire to want to know more. And you're like, oh, that's why I do this when so-and-so does that. Or if a person doesn't call back, that's why I feel a certain sort of way, things like that. And so therapy just kind of, like I said, gives you a name for what you've been feeling all along.
Yeah.
And it also teaches you a lot of coping skills.
It teaches you, like you said, not to stay somewhere too long. Because like I said, the guy, he was like, I love you. I'm like, I think you're just throwing the word around. This was a couple of years ago. And it was just like, but you consistently don't show up the way you say. You say you feel this way, but you're not showing up.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and end this.
Yeah.
Because
like my girl says, love is a verb. I need action with it. You can't just tell me you love me, show me. Do it. Let me use it.
Therapy, some extra sessions throughout the week. Because whatever you got going on, you need to see your own therapist. But you're taking me back. Yeah,
and I mean, at some point, you start to realize that like that rejection is really just God's redirection. It's just God saying, you done made a wrong turn. I'm gonna need you to turn around, circle back. You turned left. I need you to go right. Like, it's just kind of like a redirection in life. But a lot of us spend so much time fighting it that we miss the sign, we miss the flags, we miss all of the things. And then 8 months, 10 months, 2 years, 10 years, whatever it is down the line, you're like, dag, I probably really shouldn't have stayed with this person, or I shouldn't have settled for this because I deserve so much more,
Exactly.
But yeah. And so I know I mentioned before how therapy can help you with like coping skills. And I know one of the things that I love to do is journaling, because I believe that writing has a way of uncovering truths that we've been carrying quietly, sometimes longer than we realize. And so I'm wondering, what did writing From Pain to Love heal in you that you didn't expect to confront?
So it healed for me, not worried about what other people think. I put my heart in it, and it was like, whatever it is what it is. Not worrying about, again, what people think, because sometimes you cover up and you're embarrassed about like your past. Like, looking at me now, you would have, when you read Pain to Love, you guys, you would be like, her? But it just taught me, like, about my writing, it just taught me don't be embarrassed. We're all human. And some people just don't tell their truths, but it's just like, hey, this is my truth. And I'm willing to share my truth to heal someone else, because I just feel like there's a lot of people out there that are silently suffering. And I know this is off record. This is not your question, but I remember when I was first going through my divorce, and all the churchy people, and I'm going to use the word churchy, because get further in your relationship with God, you learn different stuff. So people would always be like, oh, weeping may last a night, but joy cometh in the morning. My husband just left me, okay? I'm sitting over here in this house trying to figure out what to do next. And you keep telling me the same scripture over and over, but not putting no meat to it. So when I wrote Pain to Love, I was like, I want to be able to help somebody, give them the real Kea version, the another version, versus just, like being secretive. And I think we agreed that we're around the same age when we talked before. But a lot of older people, our parents, were secretive. So they don't tell what really happened. They'll just say, don't date that man. Well, why?
Yeah. Right.
So
Right.
when I wrote Pain and Love, let me give you the breakdown. Yeah, I was foolish, but there's a lesson. So
Yeah.
it's entertaining, but there's a lot of lessons and a lot of nuggets in there. So yeah, I just wanted to be that person that's just like for that 20-year-old Kea that was running around here doing some stuff that just didn't make sense.
Yeah.
And they say the Lord covers the fools because I was a fool.
Amen. Honey, amen.
They say the
Yeah.
babies. I'm the whole fool out here because there's so many instances that my life could have been over. The stuff that I was into or around. So yeah, I just don't want to be that person that to the next generation, those 20-year-old girls that's going through it, and you see social media, you see stuff, or your cousins or the young people. Oh well, just go through it. Just go. No.
Right.
Listen here. This is how. These are the steps. That's
Yes. Absolutely. And another thing that I think about, when it comes to healing is that it doesn't always ask us to push forward. That's the thing that I think a lot of people are doing there because everybody wants you to get over it. Nobody wants to be in that uncomfortable space when you're in it or you're trying to get through it. Society tells us just push forward, push through it. But healing doesn't always ask us to do that. Sometimes it asks us to stop, to breathe, to choose ourselves in the moment, to spend some time actually reflecting so that way you can get your download, right? I'm curious if there was a point in your writing process where you had to pause and maybe tend to your heart instead of just pushing through with the book.
Absolutely. There are still times that I have to take a pause.
Yeah.
Because when you search deep within and you're telling truths, they don't always feel good.
Yeah.
So sometimes you do have to take a pause and be like, breathe.
Yeah.
So yes, it does take pauses, and you want to convey the characters in a way that touch the audience, where you say, I know a David. Because when you read the book, David was hated, the most hated character. But David, he had some deep-rooted issues too. But because it's Destiny's story, you don't really get to hear a lot of David's backstory. But like I said earlier in the interview, how did he get there?
Yeah.
Why was David, abusive? Why was David doing these things? So, it's a process. And like I said, when you're writing, you want to make sure that you're conveying the right story or the right words to touch someone. So yeah, sometimes I do have to take a pause and sit back and like, let me step away. But then I can't sleep at night because that's when my creative juice is. So I wanted to
me too.
text my editor this morning, like at 2:00 in the morning. So I was like, you know what? I'm thinking something else now. And normally she's up, but I was like, you know what? I'm gonna hold that thought till later on.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna bother tonight because I don't really have a clear vision. But yeah, sometimes you do have to take a pause.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think as healing unfolds, we start to realize that we weren't just hurt. You know what I mean? Like I said, we have that realization of the bigger picture, and we start to recognize that we were taught some very broken definitions of love. That we didn't have the greatest examples. And, with that, if the people that you grew up watching are still present in your life, then you have to get through that emotion. You have to get through that bitterness, that resentment, the anger, because at some point you have to realize they did the best they could with what they had. Not excusing their behavior, not excusing their absence, but at some point you just have to forgive them in order for you to move on. But there's a lot of beliefs that we have to unlearn. We have to reparent ourselves, so to speak. You know what I mean? And we could sit and be bitter and angry with our parents, or we could just say, listen, it's done. They did the best that they could, I guess, or maybe they didn't, but that's their skeleton, right? That's their demon to bear. But, at some point I'm just like, okay, you know what? It is what it is. It happened. I'm still here. I'm still standing. I was always covered. I was always protected, even when I thought I was out here in these streets by myself, right? So for you, when thinking about that, what belief of love did you have to unlearn in order to reclaim your self-worth so that way you could truly, fall in love with him, meaning the Lord?
So what I had to unlearn is you don't have to basically put up with like stuff that that's not healthy. You set your boundaries. My therapist, taught me that, people are who they are. So, the expectations, throw them out the window. That's who she is.
Yeah.
Okay. However, do I have to deal with you on a personal level? No. So that's
right.
really helped me because, I always tell people I'm in therapy. Matter of fact, I saw my therapist this week, so, my mom, I suggested that she see therapy because she has her roots going on, that's why it passed on to me, but, for whatever reason, she's chosen not to go. She said she'll think about it. Maybe she will one day. I just feel like that I'm in the best place of my life. So what I had to unlearn is everybody can't go with you. You have to create boundaries. That's what I had to unlearn, because people will tell you like, oh, well, come over to the Thanksgiving dinner where they know it's not healthy and send you back 3 steps. And when I told my aunt that passed a couple years ago, I said, when I fall apart, there's nobody here to pick me up.
Right.
Because sometimes you can have a mental breakdown where you can't even barely get up to go to work. But if I don't get up, I don't have nobody over here to pay the bills. I have a job that I have to, maintain. So therapy taught me how to love him. Like I said, even though I had a relationship with the guy too, but I say I have to give credit to therapy as well, because it put it in perspective. And I always tell people, if you're a Christian, get your Christian therapist so they understand where you're coming from when you keep saying Jesus and Christ and stuff like that. Yeah. But how I had to relearn love is them boundaries. I can love you from afar.
Yeah.
If it's not healthy, I can't. So I've learned how to pass up Thanksgiving dinners. Yeah. I've learned to pass up certain situations, even in my love life, personal, relationships, family relationships. If it doesn't serve me, I still love you.
Yeah.
Love you from afar.
Absolutely.
Love you from over here.
Absolutely.
But not over there, because I have more years behind me than probably in front of me.
Absolutely.
So my knees still working. I'm still kind of, I'm in my best, I think, space mentally. Mm-hmm. If I had this mental when I was in my 20s, baby, y'all would be able to tell me nothing.
Right.
I say that to say, I just don't have time to play.
Yeah.
So what love has taught me about loving him is I love the Lord. I love you with the love of the Lord.
Absolutely.
Deal with it yourself.
Absolutely. I know one of the things that I learned, and as the first time I heard it, it literally stuck with me. Like it was one of those aha moments that never left me. And it was when I was going through, getting out of a domestic violence relationship, or like a physically abusive, mentally abusive relationship. And during this time, when things got really heavy and really dark for us, I was trying to grow closer in my faith walk. And he was very anti that. Mm-hmm. So much so, like, it was a lot. Like, it was just a lot. And I don't remember where I heard it from, but I definitely remember the phrase. And it was that a woman's heart should be so hidden in Christ that a man must seek him first to find her. And it started off me just being spiteful. I got it tattooed on my back, and I was like, now, and oh my God, it burnt my ex up so bad that not only did I say it, but I branded it on me. And I was like, this is where I'm headed. And so because, you're not a believer, don't worry about it. You won't find me. Like, you ain't never got to worry about me again because I'm fitting to take this walk, because yeah, I mean, I really just had to learn that my priorities were messed up. Who I was, my focus was messed up, because obviously my focus should have been with God in the beginning. And sometimes we lose sight of that. And I mean, we're human, right? I mean, Adam messed up. He took his eyes off the prize, and so it is what it is. That's what we deal with in life. But I'm telling you, when I really heard that phrase, it was just like an aha moment for me. And that was the moment I was like, anybody that I am going to spend time with, they have to be a believer. I'm not saying you have to be perfect in your walk, because I don't even know what that looks like, contrary to what the churchy people tell you. But I'm like, but you got to be walking. Like, you have to actively be walking with Christ. Like, actively.
You have a heart, like a genuine heart. Like, when you know that you did something, you're like, okay, you know what, Lord, you really, like, I think we overthink stuff sometimes, because just like if it was your spouse or someone else in real life, you would be like, okay, I'm sorry I did that. Or, you know what I'm saying? You would try to make change. So I think it's the same way with God. He just wants a heart that's genuinely like, you know what, Lord, just cussed her out. Lord, cleanse my mouth.
Right.
And so much, because even if you just do some stuff that when the Holy Spirit, like, right, so call her back and tell her you apologize or you sorry. It's just, I think, like I said, you want that partner to understand your walk. So I get it. Like, yeah. And when you were with someone that, and the devil don't like marriages, so he was the divide, because I was the praying wife. So the devil was like, yeah, I got to get this man over, from over here, because he's like praying too hard. And one day my ex came to me. He was like, I don't know what type of prayers you'll be saying. So I don't know what happened. I don't even know if he remembers like what, because I at that point I was out. I was done. But he was just like, whatever prayer you prayed over me, I don't know, because sir. But again, I was that praying wife. Yeah. And if you would have, accepted Christ and came over to that side, that was going to be a powerful union. So, like I said, the devil was like, let me conquer, because she over here talking about some, let's go to church, let's do this. Mm-hmm. And he was trying to build financially, worldly stuff. And I'm over here like, I like, the financial stuff, but my heart is, something's pulling me towards the Lord.
Yeah. It's like you're the Abigail in the story. I think it's, 1 Samuel 25, about Abigail and Nabal, the fool. I think we all got to have a fool at some point, right? Like we all have the Nabals of the world who they're focused on the wrong thing. And I'm thankful in your story that you were more like Abigail, where you were praying and you were staying focused. During that season of my life, I definitely wasn't in the beginning. And I think that's why things played out the way that they played out. But I'm so thankful and grateful that we have such a forgiving God, you know what I mean? That loves us even when we mess up, even when we jacked up. And he still loves us unconditionally.
About it is that even when I was outside shaking it up at the club, doing whatever I was out here doing, I always had in the back of my head that I knew I needed to get right with God. I didn't know what it looked like, but I always, like when people say like, it's certain things that I just didn't do because I knew that it was something special the Lord was gonna do in my life, but it was just like right now I'm living my life.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, like when people don't really know you, they like, okay, well, she just, or people like to judge you. Oh, you sinned the other day, I seen you do this, but you don't know my heart. That's why I'm glad that the Lord knows my heart, because trying to justify my actions and my behavior, again, I'm not perfect.
Yeah.
Still not perfect. And so it was kind of like that situation, like, we married in sin. He met me, in the world. So when deep in my heart was always the Lord, but he should have knew that something was deep in there because I grew up in the church. Like I said, we went to church Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. If you know Kojic, there was a reason. If anybody don't know what Kojic is, that's Church of God in Christ. I grew up and we was always there. Bible study, choir rehearsal 2 times on Sunday. Like, we were
Right.
there. So it was in me, but I didn't have that relationship yet. But it was something like I knew that is drawn, like I know where I need to be.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah. So like I said, you need that praying, the equal, so they understand, like I said, but the devil was like, I can't hide this, but I realized that he's not my person. I wish him well. But yeah, he was like, if she bring him to the kingdom on this level, oh
yeah, it's gonna be some problems. It's gonna be some work needing to be done. But yeah, and that's the thing. We have to learn. I think that's the point where we really truly learn it, is that we can't expect us from them. So even though we may have been, out here in the world doing the worldly things, but our heart is still rooted, we can't expect that everybody else is that way too. And, not everybody who grew up in the church is really rooted. You know what I mean? They may have been planted there, but maybe they just never took root. And their walk is going to look a little different for them.
And I think the scripture, raise up a child the way that it should go. And in the older, it will not depart. So it's just like that. It was just like, it was in me. So you know what I'm saying? Like like I said, I had to go. I was so structured as a kid. So when I turned 18, I was out here in the streets like, woo, freedom.
Yeah.
I don't have to go to church. No, I'm just not going just because you wore me out. So that's what my mindset was at 18. But again, it was still there. I remember I had a life and death situation where literally my life flashed before my eyes. Literally, like somebody literally like was trying to take me out. And I remember to call on a man named Jesus. Like seriously, I'm sitting there like, I'm thinking in my head because I couldn't breathe. And I said, at that time, even though my mom, we've never been really close, but I was like, I don't want my mama to remind me like this or hear that this is how I died. That's what was in my head. Like, and then some said, the Holy Spirit said, call on Jesus. And when I said Jesus, the look in this person's eyes just changed. Because, at first it's just like, who is this? Like, do you understand? Like, it's me. Like, you're really like choking the life out of me. And at that time, I remember to call on Jesus.
Yeah.
It's something about that name, Jesus. Because
the sweetest name I know.
listen, it's still like whenever I don't tell that story often, so you got an exclusive because a lot of people didn't know about that. But it was just like, Lord. Now I still made some mistakes after that. Still was messing with the same person after that because I ain't learned my lesson. Jesus saved my life, but it was just like I know it was nothing but Jesus that came in that room that day. It saved my life because I didn't want my mama to find me like that. I just was like, this is not how I'm supposed to leave here.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
And, I think that for many women, our faith becomes the place where pain and hope finally meet, right? All the heartache and heartbreak that we've gone through, plus all the hope for the love, what we actually desire in life. Faith is where I believe that intersection happens. And sometimes they wrestle, right? Sometimes it is a collision because we know we are, deserving of more. We know that God has more in store for us, but we just so comfortable in this chaos. And it's like, what do they say? The devil is better than the one that you don't. And you like, I'm gonna go on and, resign from this position. And let me just go out there and see what else is in store for me. He protected me before, he'll do it again. You know what I mean?
For granted like that, but I feel like we all have to have our own relationship with the Lord. Read your scripture for yourself, and it's more important now than ever. But it was one of them things how you misread scripture, listen to the wrong people. So I'm trying to be, then at that point when I started like trying to get close to God, then I became the baby Christian who, the Lord hates divorce. That was not my husband, honey. Okay. That was not my husband. I married him in sin. That's not who. It was just like, hey, what you doing on Tuesday? Oh, I'm not doing nothing on Tuesday. Oh, let's get married. Seriously, that's how it was. We got married like no fam, no people. It was just, let's get married.
Mm-hmm.
So when I say that, then when you start trying to walk your walk with God, you're like, oh, well, I don't want to get a divorce, justifying why you stand.
Right.
So we have to learn the scripture and understand the scripture, or don't let people tell you to stay in something that's not healthy for you, because that marriage literally was killing me. Now, like I said, the person now, I wish him well. I have no hard feelings against him. He just wasn't my person.
Yeah.
And so I respect him as a human being over there. But again, people like, oh, you advocate for divorce. Listen, that was needed, okay? I have room to breathe now.
Yeah, absolutely.
I have room to love myself. I
Absolutely.
have room to love the Lord. I have room to be me, my genuine self. To be the nerdy Kea. To be the quirky, the goofy Kea. I have to breathe and not walk around on eggshells. So yeah, I just think that we need to, like I said, learn the Lord for ourselves, learn so he can show us that some stuff, like I said, you listen to people that you trust, but they sometimes have an old school, and they don't mean it's harm. They just have that old school mentality. Well, stay with God. Let them knock your head between the stove and the refrigerator.
Girl. Right? Yeah, it's just normal to them.
He said he's sorry.
Yeah, he love you. Girl, he love you. You be like, okay. I don't really understand, but okay. But yeah, it's something that hits different when self-worth really begins to take root in you, because them boundaries, they stop feeling like walls and they start feeling more like wisdom. And so I know you spoke a lot about learning your boundaries. What role did boundaries play in your shift from wounded love to healthy love?
Ooh, what boundaries shifted? So I learned how to say no. My therapist taught me that too.
Yeah.
Y'all
Isn't it so amazing? Yeah, it's so amazing when you learn how to say no, and you learn that there's an art to saying no.
Yes, I used to over-explain. And my therapist said, no doesn't warrant an explanation. It's no. And I used to tire myself out because you didn't want to feel rejected. Like, you asked me like, hey, Kea, can you take me over to Lansing after you get off of work and it's a snowstorm? Okay, well, and I'm literally trying to take you to Lansing.
Yeah.
Anybody don't know, I'm in Detroit, Michigan. So doing stuff that that it's almost impossible and would really like tire you out, stress you out for the next day, just may not be feasible. But I will always want to be the people pleaser because I don't want to be rejected. I want you to love Kea. I want you to just be. And then guess what? All those jokers, I'm calling them jokers, that I broke my neck for, bent over backwards for, they show their true colors. Like no matter what you do, they're going to be them takers. Yeah. So my therapist taught me the word no, and that's my new healing. Like if I could do it, if the Lord speaks to me, like okay, make an adjustment. Okay, yeah, you can, something. If I'm in my room and say, you know what, get up, put your shoes on, go on over there and take some, because it might be a reason why you need to go there. But on a normal day, just no, I can't do it.
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry. It's Thursday. I can't make that macaroni and cheese for the picnic tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah. And I think the thing that people have to understand too with that, even setting their boundaries and, actually knowing your capacity, because that's a huge thing for me, right? And I love to tell people, hey, thank you for asking, but I don't really have the capacity for that today. But you know what I mean? It's like my nice way of rejecting people. But I wish that people would really truly understand that healing doesn't erase patterns overnight. But it sharpens your discernment. And, that's something that I think is very undervalued when you think about healing. And so, when you finally learn the difference between, when somebody asks you for something and then you're like, okay, God, is this like an opportunity for me? Am I supposed to do this? Or is this the opportunity for me to exercise my no? Like, is this a sign from you, God, or is this a sign from somewhere else? And so with your journey, how do you tell the difference between something that's aligned with your healing and something that is simply just familiar or like an old habit?
So again, that's when you learn how to already put people in their categories. That's the first step. You learn, okay, who the takers. So, I have family members that are takers. They'll bleed you dry. I need a loan, I need this, I need that. And I always been that person that I want to be the grandma. I'm gonna read your mail. I'm gonna fill out your paperwork for your insurance. I'm doing everything. Okay. I was literally tired, exhausted. So you have to put categories in first. Like, okay, these are not my projects. We see it cliche all on social media. Like, everything is not your project. So first I had to determine which people are not my projects. I'm not your mama. I don't even have kids in real life. So why do I have so many projects? Right. So once I put those people over there, okay, you're out of the equation. Now there may be a time that one of those people may call and really do need something. The Lord would have to touch my heart and be like, okay, you know what? This is a situation that you need to take care of, or you need to, adjust. Whatever. But I think it's also, like I said, when you're at peace, you can hear the Lord clearer. When your world is chaotic, you can't hear nothing. So I just feel like that it's not me making the decisions. It's just like, okay, Lord, you know how you ever pass like a bum or something, or a homeless person, I'm gonna call them bum, but someone that's, displaced, and some tell you like, I need to get this person $20. Yeah. Sometimes you'll just be like, okay, it's not safe in this world, so sometimes you don't want to open your purse or anything around people because they are doing scams now when they want you to, go in your pocketbook, put your head down. But sometimes you'll hear like, nah, go back and get this person such and such, or go back. And so I just believe like being in a relationship with the Lord, that's how I take it. Like when the Lord tugs on my spirit, whether it's 2:00 in the morning, I'm like, I just want to go to sleep. Like, why?
Right. Absolutely.
He sleep. He like, well, if you would have did it yesterday,
right?
I have to just keep on because it's gonna be done.
Yeah. Like, you're gonna do it now, you're gonna do it later, but you finna do it.
That part, like,
yeah.
Let me get up. Let me go and send this over. So yeah. I've learned, like I said, to just put people in, and like I just changed my circle too. So like I said, my circle is a loving circle. So before it was, these are the people that are blood related. These are people that's just my family. Now some of my circle is still blood related, but you have a genuine love, like we all feed into each other. So I think that also helps too, where I know these people are not coming on no like shenanigans or foolery. So it's just like, okay, if you really come to me and say, hey, you know what, can you pick my daughter up from school? It's not like, I know you just couldn't do it. Okay, I got you.
Yeah.
Stuff looks different. Like I said, now, like I said, like,
yeah. Peaceful. No. Yeah, and I think that's some of the truest healing, right? And I think a lot of our healing also kind of the true form of healing honestly shows up in how we start to treat ourselves. And, a lot of people always think that the boundaries are about the other people. Realistically, it has nothing to do with them. It has everything to do with us independently. And so, it's how we treat ourselves when nobody else is involved. And so I'm wondering, what does healthy love look like for you today? In this relationship with yourself and your love with him now, right?
You just asked the right question. Anyone that's going through like a healing process where you just broke up with someone, no matter whether it's like you're in a relationship with a family member or if it's romantic, date yourself. Get to know yourself. The dates with myself be the most amazing dates. Like I said, I'm out here having a good time. Like, I go to restaurants. I have a cousin that she was like, you go eat by yourself? Those are the best times because if I decide I want whatever I decide I want to eat that day, I don't have you calling 30 minutes. with your agenda. Like if I say I want a steak, I like a good steak every now and then. I don't need you to call me saying, well, let's go get sushi.
Yeah.
Go from steak to sushi, but okay. So when you date yourself, you learn how to love yourself. Like I've been on trips. I don't mind, sitting by the water with nobody talking to me, journaling. I'm gonna get that journal there. I'm gonna take the journal. The journal is coming on the plane with me.
Right.
Taking in the views, everything. So that's the best thing about like learning to love yourself through him is that you learn what you like. I had to deprogram myself. Like I met my husband my ex-husband in 96. So I known him basically my entire adult life. So to reprogram yourself to say, okay, what do I really like? Do I like, this restaurant? I even went to a ballet this year, so I was really like trying different stuff to figure out what do you really like? Different stuff that you normally, and I always do a lot of stuff by myself because I don't want people to be like, oh, why are you gonna do that? Or you messing up my vibe when we get there.
Right.
So at a candlelight concert. If you have not been to a Fever candlelight, look it up. It's FEBR candlelight worldwide. Beautiful. I enjoyed myself. I was there by myself, but also see when you're by yourself, you have an opportunity to meet new people. People are more likely to talk to you when you're by yourself. Now, always be safe. Use your brain.
Right.
Or you just go off to somewhere and be like, yeah, let me go off, to Puerto Rico by myself in the SWAT. Make good, wise decisions. But yeah, loving myself looks like the healing process is I've been dating myself. It's a beautiful place. Like people don't believe I've been single as long as I've been single. And I'm like, no, it don't seem like that because I'm having a good time over here. When my Boaz comes, it's coming.
Yeah.
But I know, what I'm saying? I don't settle. So if I wanted to be in a relationship, I could have been in a relationship. But I'm taking my time because I know those people that approached me or whatever were not they were not for me. Versus the 96 Kea or the Kea that got married in 2003. Just like, okay, well, nobody else is going to marry me. Well, let me just go, want to get married on Tuesday? No. Yeah. Now that I've dated myself, I know who I am. I'm comfortable. I just know it's nothing but the Lord that got me in this good space. Yeah. The vibe just is always just, hello.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just loving it here, honey. I'm loving it.
Listen, and I'm loving it for you. And it looks good on you. You are literally in that season where I said a woman's heart should be so hidden in Christ that a man has to seek him first to find her. And, you already know, it's already written, it's already declared, he's coming, so you don't have to stress that and you don't have to worry about that because at the end of the day, what's for you is for you, but ain't no sense in just sitting around harping on, oh, I wish I had this or I want this or being miserable. Live your life. You know what I mean? Take the trips.
But see, listen, when the Father take care of you so well, you be like, if you ain't taking care of me like on that level, that's why I say you got to be on his level. Like you got to be walking with him because he's taking care of me so well over these years. Like my testimony is so like, the things that he's blessed me with.
Yeah.
I would have never imagined. Yeah. Never. I wouldn't have these blessings if I was still in that marriage. Like, okay, for example, we talked about my book. I always wrote letters. I was an introvert. And again, that goes back to rules. Not by choice. It's just how my parents grew up. My mother never said, I love you. So I grew up being an introvert. So I'm writing all the time in the room, just writing as a kid. But when I first separated and I moved to this house, get you a vision board, guys. I put on my vision board the name of this book, From Pain to Love. At that point, I didn't have an editor. I didn't even know an editor, okay?
Yeah.
Didn't know nothing about writing a book. All I had was a type laptop, and was just
right.
And then, look at God. So one day I was on Facebook, and I seen a girl that was actually from Michigan. And I'm like looking at her stuff. I'm like, okay, I followed her. She's an editor. So then she put me in contact with another editor. It was just like it all happened how it was supposed to be. Don't laugh at me, guys. I watched a commercial. People would think like I don't like to drive, but I wanted a Buick. So you remember that commercial that was like, is that a Buick? So I put that on my vision board because at the time it was just like, okay, I need a new car. I think I want a Buick. I don't want nothing too flashy. I just want something reliable. Because at that point now you're looking for reliable. When you're first single, I don't need nothing to break it down on the side of the road.
Right.
Heard they have a lot of problems, but I always heard Buicks are reliable. And my Buick
dependable.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
My Buick is out there still going strong. But you forget that you put that on your board. And then when I looked out, I was like, well, I got that same Buick that's on my vision board.
Mm-hmm.
So again, this name was on the board. Did not know nothing about writing a book. And guess I have a book.
Yes.
The Lord put it in place that I meet the right people. Now the editor is one of my, closest people. She's like, hey, how you checking? She'll check in on me over the years. I dropped the book. What have you been writing lately? She inspires me to, work on other stuff. So yeah.
Yeah. It's like once you get that, it's like I always tell people, once you get a taste of healing, doesn't matter where you are in your journey. Once you get a taste of healing, it's like, oh, I'm never going back. Like I'm never going back because the air up here is amazing.
I hope whoever's watching this feels that, because like I'm genuinely like happy, like genuinely never thought that. Like, not saying that every day, some days be stressful at work or, my 9 to 5 or, stuff happen. But genuinely, like, overall, I'd be so at peace because I know what he brought me through and how he protected me over the years and how he just covered me. Like, the things that I'm, like, have now, I know it was nothing but him. It's just like, Lord, I love it over here.
Yes.
I love it.
Yes. And I'm telling you, sis, it looks great on you. Okay. You are glowing. I love it. And so when we think about stories, right, every single story leaves something behind, be it a seed, a mirror, or even just a permission slip. So when our listeners, read From Pain to Love, what are you hoping that lingers with them?
It's okay to leave. It's okay.
Yeah.
Don't worry about what mama gonna say. Because guess what? Them people really don't even care about what we be doing, really. But we be so consumed with I didn't want to look like a failure. Again, with the way I grew up and being married, I was always the person that wanted to be perfect. Because when you have toxic people in your life, you get that. Okay, I gotta do this perfect. If I scramble the eggs correctly, he won't be mad today. Or, that fear of rejection. So I want the people to walk away with, it's okay to go. Because we don't deserve to be in a relationship where, like I said, somebody knocking your head between the refrigerator, emotionally abuse. It don't always have to be physical. Emotional abuse is another level.
Yeah.
So it's okay to leave, whether it's romantic, not just with David. It's okay to leave family relationships. It's okay to leave that job that's toxic. It's okay. It's okay to go. It's okay. Yeah. Pray over it. And like when the Lord say, okay, you know what? It's safe for you.
Yeah. Yes. I always tell people ships are designed to take us somewhere. So if your relationship, your friendship, your companionship, whatever it is, if that ship isn't taking you where you want to go, if it's not pouring into you, if it's not teaching you something new or broadening your horizon, it is time for you to jump ship. And, obviously you have to do so in a manner that is safe for you. We can't be in the middle of the ocean and just jump off like, oh, I don't like where this is headed. Obviously you do the work, you make your plan, and I don't know. It's like, when it's time.
And happens. But you
Yeah.
remember the Israelites when they was going around and around and around and around. That journey wasn't even that long, okay? So
Right.
it was like sometimes we hold on to stuff longer than we should. And Lord, He gonna let us. He be like, okay, keep on. Because
Exactly.
you're gonna get to where you need to be.
Exactly.
But like He just like, when you ready.
Mm-hmm.
Said I held on to that thing for a long time.
Yeah.
But when I finally said, you know what?
Yeah.
When the Lord spoke to me and said, it's time to go. It was actually in this living room. I was like, you know what? You could keep everything.
Yeah.
I said, I don't need the couch. I don't need a fork, a spoon, a pot.
Yeah.
Like, wait until they sell. Just give me my clothes and my shoes. I can go to work and they won't think that I lost my mind.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Everything else, keep it, because I got to go.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't like nothing like particularly happened. It was just like when I tell you guys about the mental, because the person kept saying every day, I'm not happy here. I'm leaving. So that's torture. That's emotional abuse. So you're telling me every day that you want to leave. So finally one day I was like, okay, when you leaving?
Yeah.
It was March. He said December. I said, oh, you done lost your mind. You think we about to hear? We about to be here from March to December?
Like, I thank you for the advance notice, but 30 days would have sufficed.
Lord, I got to go. And that's when you know, like I said, no friends gonna tell you, no family members. And I always tell people, like, listen here. When you know, and people always say, kid, you don't ever judge. I said, because when you know you tired, you're going to wake up that day and be like, you know what?
I'm out of here. Exactly.
His mama and my mama was like, well, at least take a couch or take this your house. This is your house. You don't have to leave your house. You know the law. I don't care. I just want to go. The Lord will provide.
Exactly. You like, if I can't fit it in the car, I don't want it. Like, I'm fine.
At that time, yes, I put it in the car. I got to go. So that's what, like I said, but look, guys, the Lord provided. Like, I took that, that day, I was just like, I can't. And the Lord has been providing ever since. Wonderful.
Yes. And He's going to keep on doing it. Like, He's going to keep on doing it.
Keep on.
Yes.
Job, career advance, author of a book, working on my second book.
Yes.
Home ownership. Got my credit together. Girl, it was like,
listen.
Hey.
Yeah. Sometimes we just got to lose that dead weight. Yes, and that's what it is.
Yep.
Yes. Well, sis, I thank you so much for trusting us with your story today. I honestly believe that your journey reminds us that love isn't something that we earn, right? It is something that we learn once healing clears the translation, right? And so I'm really hoping today that your story resonates with so many others. Obviously we knew that, we kind of aligned in what we've gone through and had a really good understanding of one another. To the point where I'm like, you telling your story and I'm finishing it with mine. And I'm like, girl, is this the same dude? Like, how do I
write the book? Because there's so many of us going through that.
Yeah. And I think that is something that's going to be such a blessing. I talked to my husband earlier today and he was having a conversation with a friend who is going through what you just explained. And I'm like, I need to send him the book so he can send it to her. Like, because again, sometimes we don't realize that we get that healing from a story or a song or a podcast. Like, God has a way of getting your messages to you on your level. So again, it hits in the book, a song, maybe a movie or another person's situation that you just walked in on, right? Another person's story all of a sudden becomes your testimony. And that's why I'm such a firm believer in healing out loud. So that way, maybe something that I've gone through or maybe something you've gone through that we share, maybe the next person won't have to go through it. Maybe they won't have to take so long. Or if they're already in it, they see, hey, there is a brighter side to things. You are happily single, you know what I mean? And I'm happily married. You know, we both went through similar situations, but look at us now. You know, we're happy. Is it perfect? No, but we were never seeking perfection. You know, so it's literally for me. My life is for me. Her life is for her. But it just shows you that there is hope. And the funny thing is, you started off talking about people who would tell you joy comes in the morning. It wasn't that they lied, girl. They just didn't know which morning. And that's the part we were, you know, we didn't understand. But it allows you to kind of look back and you'd be like, all right, sister so-and-so wasn't wrong. You know, she should have specified which morning she was talking
that
about.
part to a baby Christian, baby, because
Yeah.
you be over here about to lose my mind.
Yeah, you like, is it coming on Tuesday? Maybe Wednesday? Should I expect it by Friday? Is it like 2-day shipping? Like, what are we doing here? Is this a Temu delivery? Like, because I need to know how fast it's happening.
Break it
But
down.
yeah.
I always tell people, like, break it down for me, because you know I'm a little sometimes.
Yeah.
A little slow with it, because Lord sometimes I be like, Lord, you know I'm a little slow getting it. Break it down.
Exactly. But I mean, again, I think that all of us have our walks. And I'm just so thankful to you for you to show up and share your truth, for you to write the book, because, you know, that's a very vulnerable thing, you know, to put your story or even a piece of your story. You know, I know Destiny isn't your entire story, but like you said, there's so much of you in Destiny, and it takes a certain level of vulnerability to show up and to do that, and then to come on a podcast and then talk about your actual truth and destiny, you know. So that's just a huge thing, and I commend you for that, and I hope you keep healing out loud, and I know that God has something amazing in store for you. He's already doing amazing things in your life, and I really just look forward to just being a witness to that. Like, I'm thankful and grateful that our paths crossed. And I know that that was nothing but God, you know, so I'm excited for us.
For
right?
part 2, because I'm going to get that husband. I'm telling you, I feel it, okay?
Yeah.
That loving husband, God-fearing, loving husband, and part 2 is coming out. So
absolutely. And we're gonna bring her back, y'all. Okay. As soon as she tell me it's a green light, we coming back. We're gonna talk about it again, because people really need to understand that you don't have to get stuck in a phase of your life, that you can continue living and there's more in store for you. So I can't wait for you to come back and share that story. Before we close, can you please share with our listeners how they can connect with you, how they can support your work, and of course get their own copy of From Pain to Love?
So just make sure you put in Kea Simone and you see this. You can go on Amazon. You can go on Barnes & Noble as well, but I usually send people to Amazon. Also, you can find me on TikTok under Kea Simone. I'm on Instagram as author.Kea Simone. On Facebook, I am Miss MS Kea Simone. And YouTube, I'm just Kea Simone. So make sure you follow me, Kea Simone.
Absolutely. And family, don't worry. I got it scrolling for you, but I'm also going to put all of her links in the description. So make sure you guys connect with her. Y'all, she's a sweetheart. Okay. Don't be scared. She is a sweetheart. All right. I know that glow is bright, but don't let it intimidate you. Okay. Don't let it block your blessing. If you got a question, reach out to her.
Yes. I'm a big sweetheart. I got the 313 Detroit. People be like, y'all a little rough. But I'm like, no, but I'm a sweetheart. I might be a little rough around the edges a little bit, but I am a very loving and caring person. I just want to help people.
Yeah. And y'all listen, she in Michigan, I'm in Ohio. And if we can show up and be happy and healthy and there not be any beef, you know what I'm saying? Then y'all could do it too. So just reach out, okay? Because anybody who know Ohio, Michigan, y'all know that that rivalry runs thick. But again, it's all love here. And all love. Exactly. I think some of the sweetest people I have ever met, honestly, are from Detroit. So
thank you.
You get my vote, girl. Okay. But yes, family, again, do not hesitate. I think that today what Kea taught us or shared with us, or maybe did for us, I don't even know how I want to word this, but I think that what she shared today is simply a reminder that love doesn't fail us. Unhealed interpretations do. When we begin to start healing, that language changes, the choices change, the way we show up for ourselves changes. And, if this conversation stirred something up in you, don't rush past it. I really encourage you to sit with it, maybe journal through it, pray through it. Healing isn't always loud, but it is honest. And self-worth isn't something that you earn from being chosen. It's something that you reclaim when you finally show up and start choosing yourself. I hope that you all remember that you can't speak love clearly when you're still translating through trauma. And the moment that you start healing, clarity begins to replace the confusion. So, as you move forward, I want you to ask yourself, what version of love am I speaking? Is it the one that I the one that I learned through survival, or the one that I'm learning in my healing? Before we part ways, I do want to leave you all with a little extra love and light. As always, I am here to encourage you to keep breathing through the highs, the lows, and every moment in between. I want you to keep choosing peace, even if it feels out of reach. And know that here at the Self-Care Club, you will always be seen, always valued, and always supported. So don't be afraid to take up space, speak your truth, and make a little room for you to breathe. I love each and every one of you to life, and I am praying that your day is not just amazing, but aligned, intentional, and yes, on purpose, filled with purpose. This has been another Room to Breathe podcast, and I look forward to connecting with you all again soon. Thank you.